There's a lot of uncertainty in a number of the divisions, and in this middleweight division is now fits that characterization as well. Do you think at any point the UFC would consider outlining specific criteria for determining who the next number one contender is, specifically because you guys call yourself a league?
I think we did, didn't we?
Yeah, you did in this fight, but it tends to be rare, and it seems to be a lot of uncertainty. We go into these fights.
How does it tend to be rare?
Well, like lightweight's a good example. Ferguson won the interim title and then was stripped, and now we're not sure.
He got hurt.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing that he won the title.
Then what are you saying?
I'm saying that a lot of fighters feel like they fight for a number one contender fight, win, and then something else happens a month later.
But it's all based on who's healthy, who's ready to go, and who's not. Because the machine has to keep rolling. We have X amount of fights every year, and if you can't defend... Listen, when you win an interim title, it means you're next. If you can't go next, it means you're out and somebody else goes next. I think that's the criteria. That's what we always do. Disagree?
I think a lot of fighters disagree. I mean, we hear a lot of
fighters disagree with everything I say. I'm not asking if the fighters do. Do you disagree?
I would disagree with that, yeah.
And why? How would you disagree with that? So Colby Covington won the interim title. He was next. He couldn't fight. He turned down the fight with Tyron Woodley. So what am I supposed to wait for Colby Covington to show up and fight? That's not how it works. Tony's next. He's got the fight. He's got the belt. Trips blows his knee out and has to have reconstructive knee surgery. We're going to wait for him? No, we're going to move on.
But Tony Ferguson fought on the same card as the unification fight between Conor McGregor and Khabib. So he was ready to fight for the undisputed title.
Right, but he missed his opportunity. We already made the fight. He was out. Now he'll be next. You're wrong, sir.
Just on interim titles, Khabib spoke about maybe taking a break till November, and I'm just wondering what's the lightweight division sort of look like for you at the moment? And if Khabib does sit out till November, would you actually entertain the idea of bringing in an interim title?
Well, like this gentleman just said, I just said guys can't sit out and wait that long when you have the title. You can't do it. So if that's true and he's going to do that, then we'd have to figure out something else. And you start looking at whether it's Conor McGregor, Tony Ferguson, or, one of these other guys. When opportunity knocks, answer the door. We'll see how this thing plays out. That's the criteria. I'm just messing with you, man.
Well, let's start with that belt you're wearing. You're carrying on your shoulder there. What's the story there?
This is my belt. I earned this. You know what I mean? I showed up, traveled thousands and thousands of miles from home, made the weight. In my world, we're in the wrestling world. The guy shows up, makes the weight. For some reason, doesn't want to, cancels the bout. The guy forfeits the match. I win. I'm the champion.
How frustrating is this? I mean, like you said, you travelled all this way to Australia. When you hear that news, what emotions do you go through?
I was gutted, man. I was gutted. And, I started to cry when they told me. I mean, all I can think of was waking up at 5:30 a.m. to go do sprints and all the hard training and all the ass whoopings that I took this entire camp. Like, this kind of training takes years away from your life, I feel like. You know what I mean? And this was the hardest camp I ever had in my life. And so for them to be able to rip this opportunity from me, I ain't gonna have it, man. I'm not going home empty-handed. I made a promise to my people that I was gonna come up with some hardware, and here I am. I'm gonna go home with the belt. Hopefully Rob heals up, give him a crack at the title, and then I'm gonna be watching that Israel and Anderson Silva fight. They're the ones next in line.
There were some concerns this week about you that maybe you had staff or something like that. I mean,
I did have some complications with staff and stuff this week, but none of that was gonna keep me away from fighting.
Kelvin was in the back with the belt on his shoulder. I'm just wondering your reaction to seeing Kelvin walking around with the belt today at the event and sort of ringside.
That was Cejudo's belt that he borrowed. Yeah, it was cute.
What are your thoughts on him wearing the belt all day and his comments basically saying that he's the champ now by forfeit?
This ain't wrestling. This ain't high school wrestling. This is MMA. This is the UFC. So those rules don't apply here. But let me see. I don't know. He has a point. He does have a point. But I think sit it out fight Rob, and then the winner can fight me.
Hey everyone, Rob here. Sort of give you guys an update on how I'm doing. I'm still in the hospital. I had to get emergency surgery on Sunday because I had a collapsed bowel and an internal hernia that were causing me all sorts of problems. Let me say that I'm sorry for all my friends and family and fans that came out to watch me perform, but unfortunately I couldn't be there. Yeah, I tried my best to try and swing it, and I was fighting the doctors the whole way up until they said you have to get surgery or you're going to lose part of your bowel, or it could be potentially fatal. So I had to look at my health first. I'm sorry, guys. It is what it is. You can't plan for these things. I'm sorry to Gastelum because he came out here, prepped, long way, and I couldn't give him a show. But yeah, it is what it is. Now I want to say a special thank you to my teammates and my coaching staff and my management and my friends and family that helped me during the whole period, especially my team. They were with me through the rehydration period, even though I couldn't drink water or I couldn't eat water, and they were still trying to give me positive reinforcements. And then they said, Rob, you need to go to hospital. You're throwing up all your rehydration. They were honestly looking after me, and I can't express how thankful I am to have guys like that surround me. Thanks to all my fans. You guys know what it takes to keep me from the octagon. So for you guys to be behind me and supporting me and sending me your love like that, it means a lot to me. It really does. I also like to say big thanks to Dana White and the UFC medical team in the UFC, because they did everything in their power to make sure that I got the tests that I needed and to make sure that I had everything done. They spared no expense, and I got the test done. They saw that, they found that I needed emergency surgery, and they got me in straight away. And I was, under the knife the very same day I got the test done. So thank you to you guys as well. Signing off now. I'm going to be in here for a little bit longer, but I'll be back better than ever. This is one obstacle that I jumped. It's not going to keep me down forever, and then I'm going to be back better than ever. Thank you.
I'm just wondering, you mentioned Nick Diaz's name. What interests you about doing that rematch?
Wow, because I think is a very interesting fight, because the last fight with me and Nick is no contest. And I talked to manager Nick for a couple months ago and about this fight. And Nick say, okay, let's go do it. Let's go talk to Dana and let's go do it. Let's go see. I don't know. I just waiting for Dana. It's too early for talking about that, but hopefully I fight in Curitiba.
I was going to say, Conor seems to really want to fight in Brazil, and you want to fight in Curitiba. Would you rather Conor over Nick Diaz, if it was possible?
Wow, both is the great fighters. Both is the very interesting fight for the fans. Hopefully, I go talk to Dana. Hopefully, Dana doing this, because that's very important for me. Fight in my city, when I start martial arts and doing something special in Curitiba for my fans,
In the cage, Anderson said he'd like to fight in Curitiba, Brazil, later this year. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. We're still working on that card.
Who in the top 10 would you like to see him up against? Who makes sense for him at this point?
I don't know. Tuesday we'll have a matchmaking meeting, and I'll have to look at it and figure it out.
And your thoughts on the Conor McGregor link? Conor tweeted out he'd like to fight Anderson. It would be an honor.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't like that fight at all.
Is Silva versus Weidman 3 something you'd be interested in?
Yeah. I mean, I'd do that fight again if they both wanted to do it. It's a fun fight.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Lastly, you hinted before the fight as well that you might go in the octagon after the main event.
Man, that was the plan with me and Dana. So after Rob and Kelvin would have fought, I said, what happens is I come back out. Not like DC and Brock Lesnar on some like, oh, I'm going to push you and whoa, like some fake WWE shit. I just wanted to stand there and hopefully if Rob won and just face off for like 30 seconds intensely. And I felt like that would have set that place on fire. That would have just hyped up the next fight straight away if he wasn't too hurt, because it could have been a war. Kelvin's no joke. So, yeah, that was the plan. But unfortunately, variables happened, and I was the main event. So, I mean, those pay-per-view points got to go somewhere. So, yeah, we'll see.